thank Iowa and the hospitality that we received. The people were incredible everywhere we went, and obviously Coach Fran had his team ready to play, and they did a great job. And so credit to them, and good luck with them for the rest of the year.
What was the biggest thing that changed for you guys defensively from the first half to the second half?
We found number 20. He was like at the top of the scouting report, had a big picture of him. You know, in fact, our coach who did the scout referred to him as their Caitlin Clark. Right? I don't know that he could have like given a better description, right? Of like, hey, the fellas, we got to find this young fella, and somehow we lost. He got going, and when you let a good player see it go in, man, it just the basket just gets big, and so he credit to that young fellow.
And then to fight back in the second half, you guys have done that all year long. Whenever you've gotten down, you fought back and you've kept fighting. What to do that in the last game, or where's your pride level with how they hung out in there?
You know, the thing I'm most proud of these guys about has very little to do with what they did on the basketball court. We played at Cincinnati and lost on a buzzer beater. A game, you know, like it was like an NCAA to go to the NCAA tournament type game, and their kid hits a three-pointer at the end. Fly back that night. I think we got home probably around 2 in the morning, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, our guys were at an elementary school reading to kids. Those are the kind of dudes that we have in our program. That's what our program's about and what it's built on. And we're gonna win a bunch of basketball games, right? But the standard that we had this year for wins is we didn't meet it, but we met everything else. What we do in the locker room, what we do in the classroom, what we do in the community, how we conduct ourselves, how we treat people. And so I couldn't be more proud of these young men.
When you have guys like that, are those the things that you remember as this team goes by? Even, you know, you don't have the big postseason runs, you don't have any hardware for this team, but those moments.
You know, this book I like to read says, "Don't store up for yourself unearth things that can corrupt and moths can eat and destroy, but store up for yourself treasures in heaven." And these dudes, what they do and how they pour into other people's lives. I'm gonna hire a couple of these guys. If I get to coach long enough, you know, Gene doesn't fire me. If I get to coach long enough, I'm gonna hire some of these guys to be assistants and be on my staff, and that's the kind of people that they are.
Day had a big night, had his career high. To kind of see the growth and steps that he's been able to take this season, and then obviously the promise that's to come. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, no, all three of the freshmen. You know, I thought RJ played really well. You know, ball didn't go in the hole, but I thought he did a lot of other things really, really well. Buddy, you know, got some minutes, and you can see he's a physical talent. And so I'm real happy with our freshmen and the growth they made. It was good to see Day 4 assists, 2 turnovers. You know, and that's what you want in your point guard, 2 to 1, and we're gonna try and get him to 3 to 1. And you know, but Day's from Chicago. He's a tough kid, man. And, really like our young fellas.
Coach, you kind of just iterated on the off-court stuff. You know, when I was doing my research, you guys struggled second half of the season, and you guys, you know, don't pull it out today, but you're just so positive. You come in here smiling, talking about, you know, how proud you are of the team. Where does that come from? Like, I know you kind of touched it already, but just if you could elaborate again.
Hey, man, my faith in Jesus Christ, and just what that means to me, and my responsibility as a coach. You know, the word coach actually means being able to take people from one place to the next, right? Like that's what it means, and my responsibility is to take them from young guys who may lack some maturity and help them get to the next spot that they're at in their life, so that they can continue on this journey. And the negativity, and I'm not always positive, right? I have my moments too. So, but I know the responsibility I have in helping them develop, and I take that very, very seriously. And those guys there, like what they've dealt with this year, like we lost 2 teammates, right? Like lost. One day the one's with us, and the next day he's playing for somebody else, you know, and they had to deal with that, right? And you know, I don't know if you've ever lost someone, but how that feels, and then still have to play games, and you know, there's just a lot of other things that was thrown at them, and those guys just handle it with grace and class. And you know, you talked about us always being able to come at the grit and the toughness that we've shown. We won 7 overtime games, right? And you know, that's just the grit and toughness of this group. And so, and those are the kind of people, man, that you want to live life with, right? You know, because life is not perfect, and it's not always going to be good. And what I want to teach them is that when, you know, things get tough, when they're married and they're fathers and things are not going well, they don't pack up and leave, right? They stick it in there, and they figure it out, and they grind it out because they've done it before and they learned it. And if I can teach them that, then I've done my job as a coach.
And then kind of to follow up on that question, like you said, like you seem like a guy that just doesn't take anything for granted. I mean, like you said, you have your moments, but you know, you seem like a grateful guy. And there's been a lot of controversy with the NIT. You know, teams have been dropping out. Like, did you make it a point of emphasis that no matter what, you guys were participating, trying to extend the season? Like, what was your thought on just NIT?
We wanted to be able to play one more day together. Like, our thing walking out the locker room before the game was, hey, let's spend one more day together, right? Just be able to do it. And it is a blessing to be able to play in the postseason, right? Like, I don't understand when, like, being able to play more basketball and being honored. Like, there's 262 teams that season was over, right? And to be one of the 100 teams that gets to keep playing, that's a blessing. You know, and I'm not faulting anybody for saying, look, we're not going to play in it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from my point of view, right, I couldn't help but see the blessing in it, being able to spend another day with these guys.
Coach, back to the game a little bit. Talking a little bit about Peyton, you mentioned the scouting report, but then you flip to the second half, you guys are all over him, and then Ben Krikke scores, I think, 18 of his 21 in the second half. I guess, was that like a byproduct of your guys keying in on Peyton, or what did you see there?
Yeah, that was good coaching on their part, right? Like, instead of trying to force feed Peyton when we denying him and making it hard for him to catch, they told somebody else step up, and that young fella, Ben, stepped up and made plays. And you know, in this business, like, if players make plays, you're gonna be pretty good. And so, he did a great job. You know, I mean, we felt like the right guys were shooting in the second half, and that gave us a chance. And you know, sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But that young fella made shots.
What's next for you guys after this? You go back, you get everything unloaded. Is it just full bore transfer portal?
Yeah,
digging?
It's recruiting. You recruit year round and give these guys some evaluation of where they're at and where we see them going and how we can help them, and you know, keep moving on.
For everyone that can come back next year, is there a desire from you guys as coaches for them to come back?
Let's see, how do I answer that question without sounding rude? I think that's something for me and my staff to talk about and discuss, not to be discussed in the media, as politely as I can say that.
Anything else for Coach?